Hi there, it's Nikki here from Happy Hormones for Life. And with World Diabetes Day this week, I've had a couple of questions on blood sugar. So I thought I'd do this Q&A on blood sugar and managing it. So one of the questions I had was, how do I know if my blood sugar is unstable? Well, it's going to feel pretty, you're going to have some energy dips throughout the day. As your blood sugar goes up and then it comes down again, you're going to feel those slumps. And the most common one is that mid-afternoon slump, that sort of 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock one where you've done lunch, dinner's a way off and you're feeling really tired, lethargic, and you just want coffee, chocolate, any kind of carbs to keep you going. So that's one clue that your blood sugar's dipping and you might be on that blood sugar roller coaster. The other one is mood. Having ups and downs with your blood sugar is going to really mess with your mood. You're going to feel cranky, irritable, hangry, I like to call it, where you're a mixture of hungry and angry. You're likely to push someone over in the street on your way to the chocolate shop or the Costa coffee or whatever it is. It can mess with your sleep as well. So if you're up and down during the day with blood sugar, it's likely to carry on through the night. And the classic symptom of that is the 3 o'clock in the morning wake up, where your blood sugar might dip. Your body goes into a bit of a stress mode because you've got low blood sugar, and cortisol is released and it wakes you up. Cortisol is your wake up hormone. So that 3 o'clock in the morning wake up can often be a sign that your blood sugar is low. The other one is weight. Now you're going to, with up and down blood sugar, you're producing a lot of insulin, and insulin is your fat storing hormone. It loves to store fat, especially if you're not running off that extra sugar. So particularly where it puts fat is around your middle. So if you've got an expanding waistline, or if your waist is bigger than your hips, and that's the sign we do a waist-hip ratio, it generally means that you might have some blood sugar issues. Cortisol is involved as well, but they work together. So the weight thing is a sign. Brain fog. Now, if you're finding it hard to concentrate, to focus, to remember things in the middle of a sentence, then it can often be this brain fog and you feel fuzzy and foggy and things don't come to you as quickly as they used to. Now that can often be a blood sugar issue as well, because insulin and cortisol will mess with your brain neurotransmitters. If you feel dizzy or irritable at all if you haven't eaten, so you might be skipping lunch, or just, your lunch might be a bit later than normal, and then you're going, oh, I don't know about this, I'm feeling a bit dizzy, or I'm feeling like, oh, something's not right. That can be a sign again that your blood sugar's low. Cravings is another one. If you're getting sugar or carb cravings during the day, then that's a sign that your body's craving those carbohydrates because your blood sugar's low. And what happens is we eat carbs because the body's craving them, and then your blood sugar rises, and then you have another crash a couple of hours later, and you go on this cycle of constant cravings. The other clue is actually if you're craving a glass of wine around 6 o'clock, or as you're starting to cook dinner, and I've been through this one myself, you often think, oh, well, it's just a habit, but actually sometimes it's a sign that your blood sugar's low, and obviously that's more likely to happen just before dinner or after, if you haven't had anything to eat for a while. And so the body's sending you a message to crave sugar carbs, and it happens to be alcohol that gets translated in your brain, and then you'll go for that drink rather than something maybe a bit more healthy and sustainable, and then you're in the habit of having a drink every night at 6 o'clock or whenever it is. Okay, so if you can get out of that habit and maybe just try a handful of nuts, because that will stabilize your blood sugar without then getting you into the habits of drinking. Because I know it's happened to me. When I have one glass, it often leads to more. So that's one of the things to look out for. So I hope that helps. The second question I had this week was, well, how do I manage my blood sugar better? And the reason behind doing it, let me talk about the reasons behind having good blood sugar management and why it's so important. First of all, obviously, if you're on a blood sugar roller coaster, you're going to feel all these symptoms. You're not going to be working at your best and feeling your best and looking your best. But longer term, there are longer term risks of having unstable blood sugar. Obviously, there's a bigger risk of diabetes, but lots of insulin around the body can lead to heart disease. It can obviously upset your other hormones as well. It can lead to inflammation in the body, and inflammation, we know, is the cornerstone of all chronic disease. and that includes cancer. So the more insulin you have running around the body, the more you're at risk of these long-term chronic diseases, and that's what we want to get away from. So it's very, very important. And just a little example of blood sugar. So our bodies are only really allowed about a teaspoon of sugar in the blood at any one time to be safe and not cause any danger. So the body's constantly regulating. Around about a teaspoon of sugar is all we're allowed, okay? So more than that, we need insulin to come along and take it out, and it starts the whole process off. So if you think about a portion of McDonald's fries, around about 50 grams of carbohydrate, which is essentially glucose, sugar, that's about 10 teaspoons of sugar in a portion of fries. So if your body is only trying to keep you at 1 teaspoon, 10 teaspoons is quite a lot for that body then to deal with. So you're going to have a big blood sugar rise, and then insulin is going to come along and deal with it. What if you're having a Big Mac with that? Okay, so you've got another load of carbs in there. And then you add to that a Coke or a Fanta or whatever. And then you add maybe a McFlurry for dessert. Then you can see how those teaspoons of sugar build up into this massive stress on the body, a huge stress on your pancreas to produce the amount of insulin required to get rid of all that sugar out of the blood, where it's going to be dangerous if it stays there. So for me, you know, that kind of, obviously we're not eating like that all the time, but no wonder, you know, there's an epidemic of diabetes and obesity, because, you know, if people are eating like that on a regular basis, then that's what can happen. It's a huge stress on the body. Anyway, back to the question, how do I manage my blood sugar better? So what we want to be doing is getting off the roller coaster. So to do that, you need a protein-based breakfast. So that's eggs, smoked salmon, avocados, natural yogurt, nuts, seeds, all of those lovely stuff, granola, but not too much sugar in there. And then that protein and that healthy fat will fill you up till lunchtime. And that'll keep your energy stable, keep your mood stable, and stop those cravings. The second thing to do is to get enough sleep, because when you lack sleep, it increases the hunger hormones and then puts your blood sugar out of balance. So getting enough sleep, going to bed early enough, 10:30 is the perfect time to go to bed and get that before midnight cycle of sleep, which is so restorative. Manage your stress. Stress is a massive blood sugar riser. So even if you're on the most perfect blood sugar balancing diet, if you're stressed, that cortisol will keep putting sugar into your blood all the time, and insulin's going to have to come along and take it out. So managing your stress, doing lots of self-care, relaxation, breathing, mindfulness, meditation, yoga, all those lovely relaxing things. And if you don't like any of that stuff, just sit and read a book for a little bit. Just switch it off and get rid of the gadgets for a little while. If you need to snack because you feel dizzy and irritable, then nuts and seeds are your best friends, not fruit. Fruit will just sky high your blood sugar again. So get a handful of nuts and seeds, or hummus or something like that, oatcakes, something that's not sugary, that will stabilize you and keep you going and fill you up. Lay off the alcohol. I know, obviously, I'm a big red wine fan, you know that, but it's not doing you many favors in when you've got blood sugar imbalances, because that's just going to feed that roller coaster. Watch your milk and your fruit. Now, milk is full of lactose, and that's the milk sugar, and that will spike your blood sugar. So those skinny lattes are as sugary as a couple of donuts, girls. So watch that. You think it's doing you a favor, but it's not. And exercise. Exercise not only helps mobilize everything, but it's very, very good for insulin sensitivity, and it's a really good way of regulating that insulin and making your cells take in that glucose a lot better, and that helps with the risk of diabetes. So I hope that's really, really helped with your questions on blood sugar. If you've got any more questions or want more information, download the free guide. The link is up at the top. It's happyhormonesforlife.com/free-guide. See you guys soon. Take care.